Hello, everyone, and welcome. Andy Bryan here again from the Soul Pathway, and today I'm here for another Soul Pathway podcast. Within this podcast, we are going to be speaking about the healing light of yoga and using yoga to connect with your soul to embrace your soul essence. Today I'm here with a lady called Veronique, who I met quite a while ago, and she's going to be speaking about her journey to health and healing and how she used yoga in order to do that. I've been delighted to hear her story and connect with her already, so I'm interested to share her story with you all today. Before we get started, though, tell us more about yourself and who you are, Veronique.
Hi, Andy. Thanks for having me here. I'm Veronique Tsui, and I started my yoga journey in 2000. And in 2002, I became a certified yoga teacher, and I've been teaching yoga since then.
Excellent, excellent. So, what was it that led you to yoga in the first place?
Um, I guess is yoga finds me because I've been working in the garment field. I was a fashion designer for 15 years. And then one of my friend invites me to a yoga class in a Hindu temple in Hong Kong. And then I just went with her. But then I stay. I guess I found my first awakening over there. And interestingly, that person that leads me there, she gradually got bored and then she left. So then I realized that this is the messenger that brought me to my first like soul awakening path.
Fantastic, and really that's what my work is all about with the Soul Pathway as well, helping you embrace your awakening experiences
Exactly.
to connect with your soul, which I think is beautiful. So
Yeah.
tell us a bit more about your
Yes.
awakening and what actually led you into this space of using yoga as a healing practice.
So I feel I'm pretty lucky because it's a Hindu temple, or the practice is called Bhakti Yoga. So they have vegetarianism, they have philosophy and chanting and yoga classes. So at that time, it like I guess it was my first life changing experience. It totally changed my life. I became a vegetarian. I let go a lot of old habits,
Mhm.
even friends, and this is how I started the journey.
What was your life like before that, before your awakening? Who were you before then, and what was it that was it yoga that truly lit a light bulb in you?
Um, yes, because I used to smoke, um, but when I started yoga practice, I it really helps you to um, let go of some addictions that you don't think it was an addiction. But I found it pretty amazing that how but a full yoga practice, not only the physical, because at the time I start everything all together. Like I became a vegetarian. I do like I chant mantras, regular practice of yoga, and study of the yogic scripture, because it's like a steady center. So it was quite nice. Like now these days we call a holistic spiritual practice.
Mhm.
So it really made a really huge impact of my life, and especially on the spiritual path.
Fantastic, fantastic. And what I'd love to share with the audience here is a bit about your journey into healing, because I know you had some quite serious health challenges early on in your days, and I don't know whether that was was before you were introduced to yoga, or yoga was sort of an introduction into that in order to find your health?
First of all, yes. Like, I guess this is my karma and my soul journey, which is, after I get healed from the issues, I have a big realization that this is, I felt that these are the karmas that I need to clear in this lifetime. And first of all, I have scoliosis, like genetic scoliosis, since I was a kid. So it's like a severe curvature of the spine, which when you grow up into adulthood, that is causing a lot of pain in the body, and that also affect your self-esteem a little bit because you look crooked in the body. And then the other thing is, I started yoga like 2000, but the biggest challenge was I had ovarian cancer in 2007. So that was a huge one, because I undergo, like surgeries, chemo, and like a really bad breakup with my partner. So that was like really the lowest point in my life.
Yeah, I can imagine. I can imagine. So you'd already been introduced to yoga at this point. So you had.
Yes, I was already yeah, was like, I was already a teacher by that time, but I felt, there's more for me to learn, since those well, I can say, like, karmas are coming out that I need to clear and face in life.
Yeah. So tell us a bit about the traditional approaches you underwent in order to heal your body and rid yourself of certain karmas and the tumors and the cancer, and then how you potentially shifted to
um
other methods.
yeah, so yeah, I because I don't know much about natural healing by that time. So I just followed the traditional way of, dealing with this kind of situation or condition. Um, but I had my first surgery, and then of course they tell you that you have to do chemo, and it was like really a painful experience. And then after 1 year, I got a relapse, which is, um, on the medical side, which is like pretty severe if you had a relapse. And then I went through another surgery, but during that time, I took a lot of time to read a lot of books about natural healing and find out the body mind, um, um, like wisdom. So I know that, all the sickness is not really it's not really physical. It emanates out of the body because there are some blockages, um, on emotional and physical, like emotional and mental level. So after the second surgery, I decided not to take any chemo anymore. Otherwise, it's too intense for my body. So then I was lucky to went to Taiwan to undergo some quantum energy therapy that I decided to do, because at that point I need to try anything.
Can
Like,
I?
I just
Yeah,
let go, yeah, and I know that I need to try anything.
yeah.
So see to try my luck.
There's some questions I wanted to ask you before you jump into, your story of Taiwan. I imagine was there a lot of fear that came up within you to step away from, chemotherapy, in order to look into this other methodology and place your trust into something that may have been deemed unsuccessful?
Yes. It was hard because it was 12, more than 10 years ago. So by that time, spiritually, I wasn't that evolved still. Like,
Yeah.
so I was facing a lot of fear. I was by myself most of the time to
Yeah.
deal with the whole thing. So that at that time, I realized that, oh, like, it's so important that you have faith, to the universe or whoever you want to call it, God. It's so important to have your faith
Yeah.
in the universe, that you know that you're not alone. And like, it was difficult decisions that I have to make, and a lot of letting go. So, but I really listen to my intuition and my heart and choose which therapy that
So, yeah.
I should try. And then I was lucky because actually the universe was sending me options. The other option was, I have some god brothers and sisters in India,
Yeah.
and they were offering, like, there's a very good Ayurvedic clinic in India that I could try. But at the end, I choose to go to Taiwan and try the quantum therapy.
Yeah, beautiful, beautiful. I really wanted to speak about some of your fears there as well, because I think it's natural when we go through some form of soul awakening, specifically with regards to health. It can have a massive shake
Yes.
up, and I feel very sorry that you've gone through that, but in many ways, it's I'm delighted that you went through it in ways of awakening to who you are, which has been beautiful. But you know, through my soul pathway process, I speak about the phase of self inquiry, which is really looking within yourself and questioning those fears, questioning those doubts and concerns that you have
Exactly.
within yourself. And whether it's, a health crisis with something like yourself and with regards to cancer, whether it's something else, we've really got to inquire within ourselves, within our own minds, what is really coming from our soul, so that we can choose, a methodology that is going to be in alignment with what is being called to us.
And this one I really want to share because um, the as I've been studying yoga, so it's so nice from the scripture. They have the anatomy of the soul. So from the ancient scriptures, you can even find out the size of your soul
Mm-hmm.
and the layers, like the anatomy of the whole soul. So, like, according to the yoga scriptures, um, the false ego is the closest to the soul. So
Okay.
it's one of the hardest thing to dissolve.
Yeah.
So yeah. So at that time, like, I at that time, I study yoga enthusiastically. I teach that. I went to India for my pilgrimage almost every year. So, like, I thought I know a lot, but actually I don't, until the divine or the universe put you in the field to
Yeah.
test it out. It's like, what if everything just suddenly, the world just crumbles,
Yeah.
and everything you had, you suddenly lost it. So this is the real test of the learning,
Mm-hmm.
because you really have to experience that. Like, they really put you in the field. So it's like pushing you out of the cliff. You need to fly. So this is like how I felt, like, when I was experiencing the whole thing, because everything collapsed
Yeah.
and I don't have much. Well, yeah, there's people um, supporting you,
Yeah.
but at that time, I was living by myself, and still, um, like, we have to do the work all by ourselves.
Well, what I
So
find is
that's the
interesting with what
true
you said,
realization.
yeah, and that's what I love about what you said in within the yogic scriptures there about, connecting, you know, what they described as the soul, how they described the soul, and the ego being so
Yeah,
close to it. And from my
yeah,
perspective here, we've got all these wise teachers who who all
yes,
have some incredible messages, all have beautiful messages in their own different
yes,
ways. But each and every one of them,
yes,
in many ways, teaches us to disconnect from our egoic constructs and ideas within our mind and
yeah, the
really thinking about,
detachment.
yeah, and think about how we can really connect with our soul essence and discern what is true for us. But breaking and detaching from that egoic self to connect with the soul is one hell of a journey, isn't it? So,
Yes, and I'm still doing that. So it's a lifetime of journey, but that was, I guess, the first like huge, um when now I can say that a huge soul growth
mm,
from my journey at that time.
yeah. So tell us a bit more about, this healing methodology that you used in Taiwan, because I found it absolutely fascinating, the healing that you underwent there, you know.
Yes, and I felt it's totally synchronicities because um the doctor, um he was a Western doctor. He was like a professor, but I felt maybe he also, like, he's true to himself, and then maybe he find out that there's better ways to heal the body naturally. So like it's not hands-on healing. Like there's different kinds of machines that can tune the frequency of the body, or you can say it tunes the frequency of your organs. So, and at that time, like he's very low key, so there's, he don't have a website. I don't have much information about this kind of like very advanced and like metaphysical healing, but I don't know, I just want to give it a go, so I just leave everything in Hong Kong, and then I just go there and I stay in Taiwan for 6 months. So, which is good for me because at that point I'm cutting the cords, letting everything go, and then just take a leap of faith.
And what I love that you did that as well, because this is what our soul journey is all about at times. Like you say, jumping off that cliff. You don't have a parachute, but don't worry, you'll get to the bottom of the cliff just fine. That you may have a few bruises, but you will get there and you will
Yeah.
work through it. But it's really letting go of everything, isn't it? Just saying and having faith with what will be.
Yes, and it's so true that it's the trust, the trust and the faith, because there's nothing tangible for this is hard a lot. This is hard for people. Sometimes my student ask me, like, about faith. It's so difficult to explain that, but like it's a belief in your heart,
Yeah, yeah,
and it's really important when there's um, so-called difficult times in our lives.
yeah. So tell me a bit more about this vibrational healing methodology that was used, because that sounds very interesting, and I imagine you tie it, quite well into your yogic practice.
So this healing in Taiwan, they're using machines to like tune your energy. So I went there like 5 days a week, and you go to different machines for different purposes. And in the meantime, they let's say those energy is like recycling your body, and then they make the energy water at the same time, the same frequency of energy goes into the water.
I see.
So you have to drink like 2 bottles, like 3 liters of those energy water every day. And this is how it is. It's not painful. Um, it's very relaxing. And this is it. And by the time I was there, of course, they give me some like they check your body, but they check your body through the energy, not the blood. But it's more accurate than ever because your energy doesn't lies.
Yeah.
So the machine can analyze your energy. You just put your hand on like a metal plate, and then it detect all the energy. So it analyze it. So it's very accurate.
Mm-hmm.
But it was scary because I was doing that checkup, and the checkup, they have different stages of your health. I was the lowest. Like it says death when
Yeah.
I was there. Yeah. So, but then I was thinking, okay, I'm there. So just give it a try. And then amazingly, after 6 months, um, the cancer was at the 4th stage, and it goes down to 0.
It's phenomenal, isn't it? It's absolutely phenomenal, and that's why I wanted to share the healing modality that you use, because you could say that the energy frequencies of our body can help heal almost anything within it, can't it?
Yes, but like I guess it can correct or heal different kinds of conditions, but I guess cancer is really complicated.
Yeah,
So by that time, most of the other patients in the clinic, most of them, they were like cancer patients.
yeah, yeah. Very interesting, and I've heard through many talks with regards to cancer that we actually all have tumors within our body anyway. They're just not active, you know.
Yes. But there's one thing which is really important I want to share is I was doing those therapy, and uh, there's so many like spiritual books, energy books, about consciousness and yoga, spiritual practice. There's a lot of books like that. So I was reading some books about um, mindfulness and the power of your intention.
Hmm.
So then at that time, I would like to give it a try. So I made up a mantra for myself. So I'll do this mantra when I'm doing the therapy because it takes 3, 4 hours a day. So I'll just keep thinking and saying to myself, I am healed. I am healed. I am healed. I'll be okay. Everything will be okay.
Yeah.
And I think this is the most important thing. I really get healed
Hmm.
because I've seen some other patients keep coming to that clinic. I've seen those one who didn't make it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I felt that's the power of intention and your mind. And or nowadays people will say, the many like what you want to manifest in your life. So you attract. If you think about something negative, you attract the negative. But if you think about something positive, then you attract the positive.
Yeah. Yeah. It's phenomenal, isn't it? And just reminds me of Louise Hay's work and how she used the power of words to heal her body as well. Heal your
Yes, exactly.
yeah, you can heal your life, isn't it? That was a fantastic book written by Louise Hay.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So it's I guess it happened to me, and I kind of get used to it. But if I told people, people will think like it's like impossible or amazing.
Yeah. Well, the reality is like just hearing your journey and your story, it is amazing. It's incredible that you've gone through such a transformation with regards to your health,
Yes.
and I remember when I spoke with you the first time, people would say to you, you don't look like you've experienced any form of cancer. You look so incredibly healthy, which I'd have to say I completely agree with.
And there's the other thing I want to share is like after I finished all the therapy, I came back, and then the yoga healing takes its place, because I guess my yoga practice really facilitate all the, it was a big surgery and I did it twice.
Yeah.
So, and especially like for women, if um, if all the reproductive organs in your body has to take away,
Mm.
um, there's a lot to deal with, because you don't have your ovaries, the hormones, that's going to affect, it could affect your mental and emotional um, uh, path. So the yoga practice really helps me to get back into shape um, in a short period of time, which I was amazed by that too.
Ask a bit about your yoga practice here then. How did your yoga practice shift from, before having cancer to then going through your treatment and then coming back as a healed person?
Um, I guess again we go back to the field, because I was teaching the yoga and I was very dedicated to one path called Iyengar yoga, because I felt I have a strong connection with this path and the master, and it is highly about the, like, how you align the body, so it induce a nice energy flow and the precision of the poses. But after I got the surgery, and I can't do much because there's a lot of pain. I can't do severe poses. So this is the time that, again, like, the universe really put me in the field. I have this crooked body, and a lot of pain and healing to do. So then I really have to try the things that I learn on myself and see how it works. So this is really good. So now, because I went through everything, I know what's pain. Then I get to know how to teach someone or help someone
Yeah,
with that, with their problems, because I've been there. So it's not that it's not just a theory. It's a life experience. So that makes it um, powerful.
definitely incredibly powerful, and I that's why I asked about how it shifted your yogic practice, because prior to this there was, not saying you weren't a good yoga teacher before this at all in any way, but I'd imagine there was some theory based stuff that was applied to your yogic practice and teaching, and then it was like when you come back, it was like the full application of the teachings were, you know became a part of you. you know so what would you regard the light of healing through yoga? How would you describe that?
As I've been practicing for a long time, and I like to study scriptures and from other masters. So it's really that it's like, yoga practice is not physical at all, but we start from the physical. But then there's more realization that we can start both. As I used to think about um, that, oh, the physical, the 3D, it's Maya, is illusion. It's negative, but actually it's not. It's my teacher is saying that how we alchemize the physical body with your spiritual body. So it meets in the center. Like that's he called the light, because the light is the light of your soul, like emanate within, and then we cleanse the body. We cleanse the gross body. So the subtle body and the gross body like meet and alchemize together. Like that reminds me of the infinity sign.
Yeah.
So there's no good or bad. It's just like there in yogic scripture, they're saying that how we alchemize the duality into oneness, which is I felt is it's really really like suitable for the the ascension
Yeah.
analogy, like we all talking about right now.
Very true, very true. And you could say that's about resolving karma as well within ourselves. Like you spoke about,
Yes,
at the
exactly.
beginning, but
Yeah,
also the
yeah,
wholeness of who we are. The light and the shadow,
yes,
the ego, the self, the shadow, is the
yes,
encapsulation of the soul as who we are as an individual, isn't it?
yeah. Like it's actually so beautiful.
Yeah. And the beautiful thing about the infinity symbol is the journey that we go through is like forever evolving.
Yes,
It's like shifting our awareness
yes,
and consciousness as we embrace higher aspects of ourselves. Higher levels of consciousness.
yes. And there's no ending. But there's one thing I want to address is that it's um, I'm just expressing my personal opinion,
Yeah.
but this is how I feel that that like the knowledge of yoga is vast. It starts from the Sanskrit word called yuj. It means union.
Mm-hmm.
So it's actually that its teaching is the union of our soul, which is a spark from the greater soul, but we have all the virtues of the greater soul, or you can call it the divine or God. So it's really about self-realization and the union or the relationship between your soul and the divine. So
Mm.
this is yoga, but it seems that in modern days, like a lot of people is they have been too focusing on the physical
Yeah.
practice, and it sometimes becomes like too sporty for me. But it like there's some yoga path you don't have to do any poses at all. um, you discipline your body, vegetarianism, you study the scriptures, you do meditation or mantra meditation, like sound meditation, for the cleansing.
Yeah.
So the physical practice is just one part of it, but a lot of people is missing out the base of the iceberg, which is the knowledge and the teachings
Yeah.
and the philosophy of that.
And I think that's a real shame, really, because you look at it like the old self within the soul pathway, and you got the old conditioning, old constructs of you know aspects of yoga coming forth, and then you look within it and you see that there's so much more deeper meaning within yoga if we allow ourselves to connect with it, isn't there?
Yes. And actually, like now it is 2021. I have a huge realization that what I learned before, um, it it's really the essence, because the the highest stage of achievement in yoga practice we call samadhi. So that's mean a true union of the soul with the divine or God within your heart.
Yeah.
So, and within the heart is the true happiness, and unconditional love. And it's really interesting that I used to think about, of course, in yoga practice, we like people, it's very common that people study chakras in your body. I used to think that, oh, like if you're so enlightened, you get your liberation. The energy, you know, like it ascends from your base chakra all the way through the crown, and it, go up to the universe, and or you get your liberation.
Yeah.
But actually, is how the energy from the base chakra and the crown, the wisdom, um, like join in the center of the heart.
Yeah.
And then it's all the synchronicities that I've been learning, other paths, which I'm very interested now as people talk about. You activate your Merkaba in your heart, your unconditional love. So it's the same.
Yeah, very, very, very interesting. And I'm a big fan of the Tree of Life. I love the symbolism of the Tree of Life and the
Yes.
branches reaching out to the universe and the
Yeah.
roots going deep within the soil and Mother Earth. It reminds me of that as well with regards to the chakra systems. I never really described it like that before though, but I thought it's quite interesting. So if we what I wanted to ask you is how you introduce these practices into your yoga teachings.
Um, because I'm now teaching more. Well, in the studio, I'm teaching. Like I'm teaching different classes, but what I really enjoy is I teach yoga therapy classes. So it gives more room to share with students more insights of healing. And I guess it's very important for spiritual practice and healing, of like doing breathing. And of course, the in different paths of yoga, it's very common that we call pranayama, is that you control or discipline your energy in your body, which is your breath. So it's very, very important to stabilize. They now call heart, your mind and your heart coherence, because our mind and the brain is really connected with the breath. So through being mindful with your breath, we can steady the mind a lot more. And if you're familiar with the breath, then you can really guide your breath to some part of the body. Um, at least you can release some kind of blockage,
Yeah.
emotional or physical, over there. But as one of my teachers says, one has to be a seasonal practitioner. So that means you have to do it every day
Yeah.
to integrate your practice. You can't just do it once a week or like twice a week. That doesn't work. Like it for yoga practice, it really takes like a disciplined way of practicing. You really need to put in the energy and the work and the time.
Yeah. Just like with our spiritual journey in many ways, you can't just turn up for healing sessions and then go away and not do any work on yourself and expect to have change and transformation. It's like expecting the healer to do all the work for you when you've got to do a lot of work yourself in order to transform and
Exactly,
step into who you are,
exactly. Yeah, exactly. So that will, if you practice yourself, like at least, like I'm still a student, I'm still learning, but it 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 takes, you have to, like, one has to discipline their practice, because if you need your self practice, otherwise you just you just rely on the teacher to do that for you, and then when you finish the class you forget about everything.
Yeah, so I love the fact that you integrate, the mind, body, and soul, and specifically through breath. I've done a few sessions with clients where we just work through the breath. So some traumas might come up, and aspects, wounds that they need to work through, and just how do we work through it through the breath, breathing deeply, connecting with the heart and the body and the soul, and just releasing. It's a beautiful way to heal, isn't it?
Yes, yes, because um, we can only perceive, the subtle bodies inside us, because there's a lot of things that we can't see, but they're there, like the chakras, your meridians, your acupressure points. You can't see it, you can only feel it. So, like, we can only feel or perceive all those um, intricacies in the whole being through the breath. And like, without the breath, you're dead.
Yeah, very true, very true. A sad
Yeah.
reality, but it's very true. Um, so
Yes.
so with your yogic practice, how do you combine all of these things? So when people go to your studio, you obviously work on the physical and you do breath work. Do you also do aspects of mentoring to help people connect with their yogic practice on a day-to-day basis?
um Sometimes in like, in a public group classes, it's a little bit difficult, because there's different levels and of students, and they come in with different reasons. So it sometimes is a little bit challenging to share, deeper aspects of
Yeah,
spirituality in yoga practice. But I also do privates. So I guess in private yoga, that's a little bit easier, because it's more, you can have more personal connection with your client or your student. But
yeah,
still, it depends on, everybody have free will. So sometimes people, they have no idea of um, what spirituality is. They just want to be fit. So that really depends on the other person. But I'll do workshops. I'll do some yoga workshops every year. So through the yoga workshop, it's I will share more of the spiritual insights, or wisdom or philosophy, combining with the practice.
fantastic, fantastic. And I can see that shining through you, and that urge to share this beautiful practice in a deeper way, with regards
Yeah.
to exploring the spiritual aspects and the wholeness of this, and what you speak about with regards to the union of the soul through yoga, which I think is beautiful.
Yep.
Um,
Yep.
so that's fantastic. So where can we find out more about yourself and your work?
I work for Pure Yoga Hong Kong. Like, have it has been more than 10 years right now. So, like, people can find me on Facebook with my full name, Veronique Tsui, or Pure Yoga Hong Kong. But in recent years, I that's my passion. I love crystals. I'm also an energy healer. So I have my own shop called the Violet Orb. So, like, I'm selling some crystals and ascension products, and also with my healing services.
Fantastic. And for those of you who want to find out more about Veronique and her work, there will be all the links below this video on YouTube. So be sure to check them out. And what I will say is thank you so much for joining me today. Thank you for sharing your story, and speaking about how yoga is the light to healing, and to really connect with your soul essence and who you are. I think it's been a fantastic conversation.
Thank you so much, Andy. I'm so appreciated. And in Sanskrit, we'll call namaste. So that means, a very sincere gratitude to the connection. So thank you so much. I'm so
Likewise.
glad to be here.
It's a real pleasure, and thank you. It's been a beautiful and enlightening conversation. I always enjoy these conversations to hopefully enlighten people to different aspects of their spiritual journey and what they can do in their own practice in order to truly awaken to who they are and embrace that unconditional love that we can all strive for and we can all get to if we have trust and faith in
Yes.
our journey, you know.
Yes, indeed. Like, totally agree with you.
Are there any last words of wisdom that you want us to share with those watching the interview today?
Well, since we just passed the spring equinox, like for me, I felt is a very intense energy of, letting go the old, and we're during Easter time right now. So I really felt that it's time to let go the old, and embrace the rebirth.
And we are just coming through Easter as well. Well, this was recorded on Easter, but it will come out a few days after. So, again,
Yeah.
thank you so much. It's been a
Yeah,
pleasure and a
yeah, yeah.
privilege. And
Thank you.
so, take care, much love, and I'll connect with you all again very soon. Bye for now.
Yeah, you too. Bye.
It's also about the masculine coming back into balance.
I had reconciled my mind and my soul.
A world opened up that words cannot describe.
But you have to love yourself. You can only love another to the extent to which you love yourself. That simple yet profound truth.